Welcome to the Fish Nerds Podcast. It's the latest about fish, fishing, and eating fish. I'm Dave.
And I'm Clay. Together we talk about fishy stuff that's happened to us, people we know, and other fish nerds we've seen. Anything is fair game, and it's a good bet one of us has gotten a little too much sun today, and we'll have a hard time completing sentences.
Is the room supposed to be spinning?
Yay! I don't feel so good.
It's really nice out, though, today.
Beautiful day today. Windy, really windy.
Oh, really? Not where we were at, down by the coast. But we have shovels full of things to talk about today. We're going to talk about Conway Lake bass fishing.
All right.
I know. Our joint adventure of hunting creek chub suckers and the mighty saltwater bluefish.
They were mighty.
Yeah. And we actually have some Stump the Fish Nerds questions to touch on. I know. It's nice.
It feels like it's been forever.
Well, you know, it takes time to get the phone number out there. How many bathroom walls have we written that phone number on?
3.
It's finally starting to work. This podcast is brought to you by fishnerds.com. We'll talk a little bit about our strategy for moving forward.
All right.
And, of course, we have Fish in the News.
Fish news is always good news.
Fish news is always good news. So that's our podcast. Now, bass fishing on Conway Lake.
I got to go out fishing.
That's very cool.
Yeah, Wednesday night, my friend Chris Prue and I, Chris is from White Mountains Today. He's from the local TV station up here in North Conway.
Yep.
He asked me if he can go fishing with me, which, of course, I said, sure, get in the boat, let's go.
And by the way, I just want to, you've never said no to something like that.
I never say no to anything.
You never say no to anything. It's really
No.
kind of interesting.
Yeah.
So yeah. Anyway.
Luckily, we both had the free night, so we went out. The Conway Lake is an interesting lake because it's a huge lake, but it's just a big circle. But there's this cove you have to get out of when you park your boat. So it takes 15 minutes to get to the open water because of the no wake zone.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but once you get out there, we cruise across this other cove that's just piles and piles of rocks. And the buoy system doesn't make any sense because maybe I can't read the buoy system, but I always smash into rocks.
That's not good.
It's not well. It's okay because that's where the smallmouth bass live, and that's what we were hunting for.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So Chris's favorite smallmouth bass lure is a what he calls a wacky rig. We talked about these before. These are the Gary Yamamoto rubber worms hooked through their belly, basically, and just jig through the water.
Right.
And I use a Sluggo hooked up weedless, and we fished like that for like 2 hours, and nothing.
Oh.
Don't you hear that a lot? I always say nothing.
Nothing. Squat.
Nothing. We
0.
couldn't catch them. Moved around. Weren't catching any fish. So we tried a new spot. Still nothing. So we decided to gear down. You know, whenever we're not catching fish, smaller hooks.
Yeah, that's right. Just keep going smaller till you're so small you don't see hooks, and then you go home.
Then you go. That's right. They're gone. So I tied on a Panther Martin, which is made by Mepps. It's this little gold spinner with a little red rooster tail on it.
Yep.
First cast, hit the water, boom, smallmouth bass.
Sweet.
So they weren't wanting big food.
Oh,
Maybe it's that late summer blues. They get tired and hot, and they're like, I just don't feel like eating that big thing today, or it might bite me back. So, really fun. But then Chris did the same thing. He tied I forget what he tied on, a small lure, and he started catching fish as well, and had a really good time.
Oh, that's awesome.
So really kind of the takeaway to that, and it's not really a great story, but the takeaway from that is the fish are there. They've always been there. Small is the answer. So
right. That's good. Now, you know, if we were on the professional bass fishing tournament and tour, you know, you'd be talking about, it's about the patterns and matching and, you know, my trilene 000 line, and, you know, you'd have to figure in as much endorsement as you possibly can.
That's right. You have to really know all those terms. You know, I threw Lady Gaga in with a hook attached to her, and I still can't catch a fish.
Right.
What am I going to do?
You just pile on all that like you all intended it, and the results would still be the same. You still wouldn't catch anything on all those other things, and you'd still catch more fish when you got a smaller size.
That's right. Yeah. So there it goes. That's it.
Well, okay. That's good.
Yeah.
That's
so
good.
Smallmouth bass, but really fun, good time, nice to be out. You know, and then we got beer afterwards.
Oh, see, there you go.
Very good. And we got wings. It was wing night at the local smokehouse. So that was nice.
Very nice.
Yeah, it was really good. Salt and vinegar, by the way. Awesome wings.
Oh.
Yeah.
I've never been a fan of the salt and vinegar. I don't get it.
No, I don't get it either. But we went to, it was a 302 Smokehouse in Freiburg, Maine. It does wing nights on Wednesdays for like 70 cents a wing. And they have like 30 kinds of wings. And so we ordered a variety of them. And that one was super yummy. Just really, really super good.
Wow. Very cool. You know, I work down near Chinatown in Boston.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that amazes me is chicken feet are... they are as big as chicken wings in, in, I guess, the I don't know, white people's realm up here. But in those Chinese markets, they'll just have big trays of chicken feet.
Have you bought them?
I haven't bought them. I've read a little bit about how the chicken feet are like people that have grown up with chicken feet love chicken feet. Just sounds like the worst thing possible. But apparently. Most
delicacies or most, especially ethnic delicacies, start off as like a poor person's food.
Right.
And then we as Americans, we adopted it and said, okay, that poor person's food we're never going to eat. And then all one year we just change our corners and all of a sudden we're eating lobster. And that's it. So
yeah, exactly.
Give it a shot. Maybe they're the new lobster.
Wings, I'm sure wings were thrown away at some point.
Well, because they're so tiny. Like, they should make buffalo thighs.
They should.
They should.
I think buffalo feet will be the next thing.
Yeah, no, they won't. It's a bad idea.
Bad idea. Well, anyway, I digress. We actually were together fishing yesterday.
It's a rare opportunity.
I know. And you know what? I realized we still didn't take a picture of us together fishing.
People are starting to think we're like Superman and Clark Kent.
What kind of morons are we that, we finally get the time away, we can go fishing together, and we don't get a picture of us?
Well, there's a problem. Here's the problem. We don't look very good. And then, like, together, we look twice as bad. So why would we do that?
Why, indeed. Yes, that's why we podcast.
That's right.
Well, anyway, yesterday was great, though, because we did get to go fishing, and we started off down some saltwater fishing. Clay doesn't get to go saltwater fishing near as much as he'd like to.
Well, back up. Back up a little bit, because the plan was to go fishing for creek chubsuckers. We were going to put a full day in on creek chubsuckers.
Yeah, it's because we need those for the quest.
Yeah, we brought our waders. We had all the gear for these small fish. We're ready to go. But then I said to Dave, "Hey, I heard fish were living in the ocean."
And we heard from Suds and Sodas, the good people up at Suds and Soda up in Greenland, that the bluefish were moving in. And they recommended Little Bay up around the Route 4 bridge, I guess, is where they were saying they were catching them. They were like, didn't they say like a foot long or something?
They say like 12 to 18 inches. So we got really excited.
Yeah. And but since we knew we had to go for creek chubsuckers, we said, all right, well, let's go down at Hampton where we know we can get out on the marsh. And then we can also still go for creek chubsuckers just up the way a little bit. So we didn't make the trip up to Dover like they had recommended, but we went out to the Hampton Marsh. And really neat spot. I like that spot a lot.
It was a really cool spot.
Yeah, and it's this old railroad bed that runs out across the marsh, and people work their way out there. And it's neat because it floods. When the high tide comes in, it creates all these little islands, and if you're not careful, you'll get stuck out on an island. Right,
so we got there. And there was just people putting their boats in the water. And David said, "Hey, Clay, don't bring your boat." And that's why I was like, as soon as we got there, I'm watching boats just like mine get out there. I'm like, I should have brought the boat. And then, yeah.
But as you pointed out, if you were to go back to your house after you left that morning to get the boat,
don't tell the story.
Don't tell this story?
No, don't tell this story.
Why? Because it'll get you in trouble.
Probably, yeah. So, no boat.
All right. So we'll just leave it at that. That
Leave it there.
it was wise not to go get the boat.
Right.
So anyway, moving along. We went out to...
Look at the time. Is this podcast over already?
So we went out to Hampton Marsh, and it was neat. There was one guy who was down by the old railroad trestle there. I think there's two. This is the smaller of the two.
Right. We had to walk out to it. We parked, and then we had to walk to the railroad trestle.
Right.
And you walk out, and the road dips down and dips up and dips down, and the tracks run kind of right across all that stuff.
Right. And so we got out there, and there's a guy fishing, nice, friendly guy. He had a whole bunch of rods. He was changing rods and reels like every...
He must have had like 7 or 8 there, just set up, ready to go. He was really geared up for a day of whatever fish was there.
Right, exactly. So we get out there and asked if he was catching any. He's like, oh, yeah, there's like some bluefish out. And right now the tide was coming in. So we were about...
I've never seen tide come in like this. But that tide was rushing in like a raging river. Like, I've never seen tide come in so fast.
Yeah, it was
like
really
the currents were unreal. Like, it just whipping under that trestle and bubbling. Oh, the water was just boiling all over the place where that water was tearing through. I just can't imagine a fish hanging out in that.
But they were. There were lots of little bluefish. So more like 6-inch range instead of the 12-inch range.
Yeah, my 2-inch lure was too big.
Yeah.
For these fish.
But they were a kick to catch. I ended up putting on a sabiki rig with a little chartreuse marabou jig and on the end of it, and it was just perfect. They were hitting it. At the most, I think I brought in 2, I think.
You once hooked 3, then one shook the hook. Those sabikis are such fine hooks. It's easy for a fish to throw them.
Yeah. So. And I actually went out today, by the way, this afternoon, and I did pull one in that had 3 on it. So you win. I did go.
Were they bigger?
I caught one bigger one that was more like 10 inches.
Did you go to the same spot?
I did go to there was a family park there.
They ruin everything.
Oh, they were so annoying too.
You didn't give them a card and say, hey, check out a podcast.
No, I did not. Good. But they were they were definitely staked out that whole area, and I was like, I'm not even going to bother trying to get down there. But I ended up just going a little bit further away from the trestle. I put on waders actually and waded out into the marsh.
Well, that was smart. And let's get back to that first story and talk about why it was smart to put on waders. So we walk out to this guy's fishing. He's got his truck parked right at the trestle. He drove to where we were. So we figured he knows something we don't. We're probably in good shape to fish while the tide comes in. And we did. We kept fishing and fishing and fishing. And just kept catching these little snappers.
Right.
And not taking nearly enough pictures, by the way.
I know. We took some videos, some pictures. But yeah, we never take enough pictures.
No. But we decide we're going to pack it in and leave and go hunt for chub suckers. And as we're walking past the dude, he asked, you going to swim back?
And we're like, yeah, whatever, old man. You've been out in the sun too long.
Yeah, your truck's here. You're clearly going to get out of here at some point. We can walk out of this.
And sure enough, though, on our way out, we noticed that the trail that used to be high and dry...
Gone. We were on an island, stranded there with a crazy old guy with 9 fishing poles.
So, but we were able to wade across, and, it wasn't too much of a disaster. But
no, could have been.
Could have been, though. And like I said, today I went out and actually had my waders on, so I was impervious to all that. And I saw a bunch of guys from Massachusetts had their van. I should have took a picture, but they were all there trying to get their van out because they had parked it basically in the high tide. And, taking pictures of stupid things kind of get you beat up if you're out there alone.
Sometimes. But you look very tough in your waders, so you probably could have, talked your way out of it. Do you know who I am?
Yeah, that's me, looking tough in waders.
Always.
But anyway, it's a nice spot out there if anybody wants to poke around. Hampton Marsh, I think it's a little town landing out there.
Really cool spot. The other thing that we thought was really cool there was before the tide came in, there's all these ponded areas where the fish are trapped in these pools. And the pools are full of mummichug. Like thousands and thousands of mummichug in each pool.
Yep.
And it was surprising to us was that the birds weren't just sitting in those pools gobbling up all these fish. There were so many. I think it'd be easy pickings.
Yeah, you would think so, but they must not be, because my theory is that mummichugs must taste bad.
They must. Well, we've tasted them.
Yeah, that's true. We had them in a eggnog.
Chognog. Mm.
But it's really hard to know what was worse, the eggnog or the mummichog.
You know, it was the eggnog was worse. I'll maintain that.
And that's why you don't get birds sitting around drinking eggnog.
That's why. So, yeah, it's disgusting. But lots of those fish were there. We should have put some time in on sticklebacks while we were there also, I think. But
you know, I looked today, and I did see a few fish that could have been sticklebacks.
And you had your waders on, your fishing pole with you?
Yeah, and I didn't have anything small, though, so I couldn't try to get them.
Too bad. Too bad. But then after all that, we went hunting for creek chubsuckers. And this fish has become our nemesis over the past 6 months. I don't like this fish.
This fish makes, difficult Atlantic salmon. People go out and catch Atlantic salmon or northern pike or, all these traditionally difficult fish to get. It makes all those fish look like sunfish to catch.
Oh, man.
Creek chubsuckers are by far the most difficult fish that I've ever pursued.
Yeah, in fact, if anyone in Fish Nerdland has ever... speaking of Fish Nerdland, Michael Mize. Remember that guy?
Oh, yeah.
Our one listener?
Yeah, I like him. Hi, Mike.
I'm fishing with Chris Prue, and he says, how do you know Mike Mize? And I said, I don't know Michael Mize. He's one of our fans. He just posted on our Facebook page. He went to high school with Mike. So, anyway, sidebar.
Very nice.
So our one listener knows the guy we fish with.
Yeah. Well, there you go. We have it's 7 degrees of separation by 2.
Yeah, 2 degrees. So, I interrupted you. Sorry about that.
No, I was just lamenting about how a creek chubsucker. So, yeah, if you're out there and you say, well, I've caught a sucker, chances are it was a white sucker.
Probably.
Because we've caught those.
Easy.
But I swear to God, I've seen creek chubsuckers feeding. I've gotten a worm in front of them, and they just ignore it. And I've tried dough bait, I've tried everything, and I don't know. I'm at a loss. Wit's end, as it were.
Right, and we asked Fish and Game, how do you catch them? And they say, we just paddle our boat up next to them and scoop them out with nets.
It's like, oh, great. They probably drop a few thousand volts of electricity, too, to get them to scoop.
That probably makes a big difference. And we need to get out with Fish and Game and do some electroshocking and finish up these fish.
We do, because it's legal if we go with them. And that's our, we had 2 rules primarily for the fishing quest to catch all the fish in New Hampshire and eat them. One rule is that we wouldn't use nets because that seemed like cheating. And second, any legal method would do. So if we go with them, it's legal. That's what we're trying to do.
Well, there you go. So let's do that.
But anyway,
when are we going to do that, Dave?
When are we going to do that? I don't know. We got to do that soon because then pretty soon winter comes and they don't electroshock in the winter.
Can you imagine electrofishing in the ice?
Well, that would I don't know. Don't know how that would work.
I don't think it would work.
I don't know.
You couldn't scoop the fish up.
I guess you couldn't. Yeah, that's probably why they don't do it.
Probably not. Plus, it's cold.
It is cold. Who wants to be out there in the winter? So, anyway, so we failed on the creek chubsuckers. We tried a couple of spots, and everything was really warm. It's dog days of summer, probably similar to your experience at Conway Lake, where the smallmouth bass were just really, not into big meals. Might chase something little. We were out in these places that were heavily weeded and probably warm water, and we could just see fish just sitting, not wanting to move at all. And after a little while, we were able to coax pumpkin seed primarily. We never caught a golden shiner, did we?
No, which was bizarre. Yeah, they were barely moving though.
Yeah,
they're all just laying there, almost dead. They must have been like sucking wind. Just
maybe
the water was probably easily in the mid 80s. I mean, they're just can't breathe.
Yeah, and there are fish. What, the burbot? I've read actually kind of hibernates in the summer.
Yeah, they'll bury down the muds and just. But they're not going to be. But they would die in that shallow water. That's not because they're living in big lakes.
Yeah, well, I was just saying, there are other fish that just stop moving when it gets too hot. So
but it's funny because these fish, like from the south, like bluegills, for example, you'd think they'd be great in that warm water.
Yeah, I guess there's a limit for everything, though.
Yeah, I guess so. But the pickerel, you can see them just laying there, just like, oh man. So we caught a few fish, caught a frog.
yeah. Clay caught a frog.
He jumped up, grabbed my hook.
And he instantly felt bad.
He did not like it. Yeah. He didn't scream, which is good. Have you ever heard a frog scream?
I'm laughing because one time when Clay and I used to work at the Amoskeag Fishways, we did kids education stuff. And we had an event the next day, and we had to go out. We found ourselves in the middle of the night in Black Brook Swamp. Total darkness. Why were we out there at that time?
Well, because I said, hey, let's go catch some frogs.
I guess that's all it was.
You lived right next to it. It was Maxwell Pond.
Oh, yeah.
Which is gone now. Now it's Black Brook.
Yeah, that's right.
They took that dam out.
They got rid of the pond. That's right. And,
so we were, but at night's a great time. You shine a light on a frog, they don't move, and you can just pick them right up. Easy.
And God, I remember we were out there, and Clay picked one up, and it screamed.
We put it in a bag, like a wet bag, and we're just carrying it back to the car, and the whole ride, the whole time. So
that's exactly how it sounded too.
I heard it again this summer. Not that same frog. That frog is long. We didn't kill it. We let it go. But this summer, I was with some kids at the camp I work at, and we saw a snake eating a frog.
Oh.
And I'm like, hey, guys, come watch the snake eat the frog. And the snake's got hold of this frog by its back legs, and it's just slowly swallowing it, and the frog is going, ah! It just sounds just like that. Ah! It swallows it more and more. Ah! And I'm like, oh, this is awesome. Look how the snake dislocates its jaw so we can swallow the thing. Frogs. Ah! I look at the kids. They're crying. They're tears. I'm like, why are you crying? And the frogs. Ah! And then after the snake swallowed the frog, you could hear ah! Inside the snake. Like, just quiet. Oh, and the kids are all crying.
Oh, good times.
Yeah, I'm a gifted naturalist.
Oh, man, you're giving those kids memories.
I yell at them, too. Stop it. The snake's got to eat.
That's... I don't know why that strikes me so funny, but it does.
Because you're a bad person.
I guess I'm a bad person. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
There it is.
So, no creek chub suckers,
None.
but like you said, we had other adventures, so that's fun.
Mm-hmm. And I remember we were talking about something, and you said, hey, save that for the podcast. And I was writing the podcast notes tonight. I can't remember what we're saved for the podcast.
Oh, no. See, now I'm stuck, too. And
do you remember that conversation?
Yeah, and this is going to be riveting for listeners as we try to figure out what we were going to say.
We're terrible at this.
No kidding. It's like, that's really fascinating, guys.
Well, if you think of it.
I can't remember.
Yeah.
Anyway, Stump the Fish Nerds.
Yeah, we got Stump the Fish Nerds this week, finally. By the way, for those who don't know, we do a segment called Stump the Fish Nerds when we have people calling in. Dave, you want to give the number?
I do. I really want to give the number.
I have it in front of me. I'll just give it.
Okay.
So we have a Fish Nerds hotline, and if you have any question at all, just give us a call at 607-378-FISH. 607-378-FISH. That's 3474. Leave a message on the Fish Nerds hotline, and we will play it on the air and answer all your questions. Between Dave and I, we have all the knowledge everyone needs. Or someone needs. So.
And we'll stick by that. So,
yeah.
And we actually had some calls this week, right?
We had we had me calling to make sure it worked. So it sounds like this. I'm just checking to see if this thing works. So we'd have no need to play that one.
Okay, good.
And then we do have a phone call. So
All right, let's see if this works.
Hello, fish nerds. Tim Moore calling from Seacoast Guide Service, trying to stump you guys. My question is, how many bluegill fillets can Dave eat in a single sitting? I'd love to hear the answer to that on your next podcast. Thanks, guys. See ya.
All right. There it was.
There it was. So that was Tim from Seacoast Guide Service. And he has a great Facebook page. He does a whole... he was a guest on our show a few weeks ago also.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah. You'll see his link on our website. And he does fishing journals. Like, he goes fishing. He videotapes himself fishing and shows you how to do what he does.
Yeah, totally
but
great.
he asked Dave, to you particularly, he asked you, how many fillets of bluegill can you eat in one sitting? So it's a tough one. By the way, I thought he was going to ask, how many fillets of bluegill can you get off a fish?
Oh.
I thought maybe he had a special way of cutting the fish. So my brain immediately started kicking into like ways of filleting bluegills. And then turns out he just wants to know how many you can eat. So he's calling you fat.
Yeah, that's true. So, so the answer to that question about how many fillets of bluegill I can eat, about 3. And it's because
that's a boring answer. 3.
It's an incredibly boring answer, and I'm always so excited about when I have committed to eating a fish, I'm always excited about it, and I fillet it up, and as I'm eating the fish, I realize I really don't like fish.
Hey Dave, let's catch and eat every kind of freshwater fish in New Hampshire. No, Clay, I don't like fish. I mean, you could have just said that. We could have.
It would be over.
Saved us a lot of writing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not. The eating is like the worst part for me. Just because all the other parts I like.
You like killing the fish?
I love killing the fish. I do it out of spite.
Yeah, they're naked bastards.
Yeah. No, but the eating of the fish is it's kind of meh, and bluegill are always, I mean, they people rave about them. I like them, but after about 3 or so, I'm like, yeah, okay, got it. And I'm much more of a, I don't know, hamburger guy, I guess. So that's a very disappointing answer.
It is.
I know. But that's it.
Well, good. I'm glad we had that talk. Thanks, Tim.
So, but yeah, in general, there's been a few times where I've eaten a fish where I'm like, oh my God, this is the best thing in the world, and I could eat a whole bunch. One was a catfish on a grill. I remember once that was just outstanding, and then I tried to do it again and could never replicate it. So, there are times when I'm totally into fish, but for the majority of the time, it's not like I seek it out for that.
No, we've had some good ones in the course of our quest. Also, I mean that Effingham sandwich was really good.
the Effingham sandwich was really good, and the burbot was really good.
The burbot was great. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's lots of those. Bluegill always kind of disappoint me. They always taste the same to me, and they always taste a little weedy to me. They taste more like the freshwater weeds, and which is fine. But like I said, not a lot of them.
Well, there you go. It's funny because you said that you rather have a hamburger. We had my parents were visiting. We did a big lobster bake.
Yep.
Because lobster's like $4 a pound right now. And the whole time I'm eating my lobster, I'm looking at the grill thinking, a cheeseburger would be awesome. Any day of the week, I think I would choose a really great cheeseburger over a lobster.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. But they're good.
They are good. They are good. The best lobsters I've had are the ones that are grilled, not boiled.
Oh, because they don't get all gooey.
That's right.
Yeah.
And they kind of steam in their own blood.
Yeah. A few years ago you told me to do that, and I threw some live lobsters in the grill, and my grill was broken, so it wasn't heating up very well.
Yeah.
And they kept trying to climb off while they were cooking, and I just felt bad the whole time. So
were they screaming?
No, they. None of that. So.
Oh wow.
Yeah, but they're definitely a big mess.
Yeah, they are a big mess.
We were at the coast of Maine a couple days ago, and we went out to a place called the Lobster Shack in Cape Elizabeth, which is this amazing place that overlooks the Cape Elizabeth.
Yeah. It's lucky. Yeah, it's lucky it does that.
But it's a great place to watch people eat lobsters who've never had lobsters before. So I highly recommend go there just to watch people eat lobsters. I'm eating popcorn shrimp, which tastes like breading dipped in ketchup.
Right.
Which is great. And we're watching this guy in front of us with his family. He's got these lobsters on the table, and he won't let his 13-year-old daughter, break her own lobster open.
Oh.
So he has his lobster. He keeps dangling over under the table. He'll peel it open and just pour the water out on the ground. And so there's this big pile of lobster juice pooling up by his foot. He keeps dropping legs and the tail, and he's having the worst time. You can tell he's not enjoying it at all. He's wondering, why is this a delicacy? Why do people do this?
Why is this good?
Really fun to watch him try to get into a lobster. Just making the worst mess. It's just really fun to watch. So, anyway, go there, get some fried seafood, and watch people eat lobsters.
Good times.
Good times. We know how to party. We know how to party. All right, good. Hey, we got some fish in the news.
We do. Fish in the news.
Yeah.
So this little bit of information has hit the airwaves, I think, pretty much today. NPR has featured it.
National Public Radio.
Yes, which we love them. We would love to be National Public Radio people. Good.
Mm-hmm. We better start making better podcasts.
Yes, we do. Note to self, make better podcasts.
Be funny.
Dishwasher cooking. You can make your dinner while cleaning the plates. Apparently, the thing to do now, or a thing to do now, is to cook in your dishwasher. And one of the things is salmon, apparently, is really good to cook in the dishwasher.
Well, because when you're poaching a fish, low temperature, long duration is a great way to cook.
Yeah.
Gives that creamier fish flavor, real tender. Nice way to do it.
So they recommend that you wrap salmon tightly in aluminum foil or a cooking bag.
Mm-hmm. And this is not why it's news, though, Dave.
Why is it news?
That's not the news. See?
What do you mean it's not the news?
No, that's the background. So in the 80s and 90s, that was a popular method. And they would say, wrap it in foil, stick it in the dishwasher with no soap, run the cycle, eat your dinner. But now the way it's news is because this Italian lady's written a book on dishwasher cooking, an entire cookbook. It's only available in Italian. But what she recommends you do is you cook everything in mason jars. And that way you can add soap and still wash dishes. You're not wasting the energy of running the cycle. That's why it's news.
That's why it's news.
That's why it's news, because there's a book out.
Man, there you go. Books are news.
Books are news. So that's the... Anyway, but it sounds like fun. I want to cook some fish. I want to put a weird fish. Do you do it live? Like you get a live goldfish, stick it in a mason jar and run it through and call it poached?
I suppose you could. And then you just open up the jar and slog it down.
I'm just trying to imagine, like, I run the dishwasher at night before I go to bed.
Yeah.
So what happens to the food in those 6 hours after it's done running and you wake up?
Right at that incubator temperature, you know.
Because who runs dishwasher before they have dinner?
Yeah, nobody, right?
Nobody. That's why it doesn't make sense.
Well, let's brainstorm a little bit about other multi-use household activities that you could double for fishing. The first thing that comes to mind is keep your bait in your toilet. So,
like in the back?
In the back, yes.
When you flush, though, they end up in the bowl.
No, well, put them in a cage or something.
I've been doing it wrong all these times.
But if you kept them in a cage, then you flush, they get new water. New water comes in, and, double duty right there.
They probably do well.
Double duty, get it? Duty?
Duty, yeah, no.
No, sorry.
Never do that again. Never. No, they probably do really well.
Yeah.
Especially, not fall fish because they die anyway, but like a mummichog would probably be very happy.
Yeah, or actually crayfish would do really well.
Crayfish would love it a lot. They wouldn't want to be in the back of the bowl. They want to be in the actual toilet itself.
Yeah, that would be a little disturbing.
Yeah, no, so that won't work. What other household items can we use for fishing? Well, we could split a lamp cord and electrofish with it.
That's true. You just throw the lamp in. That would work.
That's terrible. No.
Yeah, maybe that's all I got.
That's all you got. Well, you can use your popcorn popper, your air popper to roast coffee beans, right?
I did.
So
know
there
that.
must be, yeah. There's websites and books about that. Again, impractical, silly thing.
Yeah,
But there must be a way to use that heat to cook fish.
that's true. Or you could put shiners in your pocket when you're ironing your clothes. You could cook them right there.
Perfect.
Perfect.
You iron your clothes.
I iron my clothes every morning.
Wow.
Every morning when I go to work, I pull out what I'm going to wear because I've stuffed it in a drawer, and then I have to iron it. Otherwise, I look like...
Me.
Well, I look like there's a guy on my... I take a train down to Boston every day, and there's a guy I've deemed the wrinkled man. And the wrinkled man is constantly wearing wrinkled clothes. And I don't get it, but he's the wrinkled man.
I used to buy this spray that you would spray on your clothes, and the wrinkles would... Well, the label said the wrinkles would fall out of your clothes.
Wow.
Yeah. The reality was is you smelled like spray. So...
Yeah, but
Wow.
but I could put fish in my pockets, and I could have a little snack on the way down to.
I'm not even sure I own an iron.
Really?
I have no idea.
Well,
Don't ask Kristen that. Yeah, Kristen, my wife, probably has an iron somewhere. Somewhere. So, all right, that's enough of that.
All right, fish
yeah.
in the news.
It's over. Hey, so as you listeners know, Dave and I have been writing a book.
And writing a book.
And writing a book. We've had we've had an agent for the past years. Contract is up soon. And he hasn't sold our book. So we have to do it ourselves. So coming soon, we are going to start fundraising to get our book on the shelves using Kickstarter. And for those who don't know what Kickstarter is it's a platform where you can crowdfund art projects. And our book will be our project. And so we're going to need help from all the Fish Nerds fans to help pay to get our book on the shelves. Basically, we're going to ask you to pre-buy the book. You pay for it in advance, we'll get it published, we'll ship you a copy, we'll sign it, and you'll have the Fish Nerds book.
Well, there's also neat things. You have different levels of sponsorship. So, like, for whatever X amount, you get a book. For X a little bit more, you get a signed book. For X more, you can come fishing with us, or maybe
Ooh, how much to fish with you?
I know. Maybe it's less money.
You give us enough money, we won't call you again. We'll stop podcasting. We won't sing to you.
For more money, we'll cook you a dinner in your dishwasher.
Oh, that sounds great.
Yes.
So we haven't worked out what all the gifts that we're going to give you, but they're very generous, of course.
And very, very well worth it.
Absolutely. But we need to get this book out. We've got it almost probably 90% written right now.
Yeah.
We need to polish it. The money for Kickstarter will go to things like proper editing, which is important.
Yes, it is important.
It'll go through, of course, the publishing cost, which is really expensive. And the more money we raise, the lower cost per book, and the more better. The more gooder our book is going to be. But the more money we can raise, the better quality book we can put out. And
the more money Fish and Game get.
That's right. We're giving 10% of our profits to New Hampshire Fish and Game. So if we self-fund the book without raising money, until we make back our investment, Fish and Game doesn't get a dime.
Right.
But if we crowdsource the funding through Kickstarter, so we're not spending thousands out of our own pockets, then immediately our royalties, 10% of that goes right to Fish and Game.
I know. It's like,
because the profits start right away. Big money in book publishing, I hear, too. I'm
sure Fish and Game is already counting the money.
They've given up on that a long time ago. But stay tuned for more details. We'll be launching that in the next couple of weeks or so, and we will keep you informed.
Yes.
So that's Kickstarter coming soon, getting our book on the market.
And one of the things we've been reading about, how do people sell books? And the publishing world is changing very rapidly. Pretty much all the old school publishing people are falling by the wayside and getting replaced by people that understand social media, the people understand
New school people.
Yeah, that's right. There you go.
That's right. Yeah.
And one of the things is your platform. They always say build your platform.
We've been building this platform.
Yes, and basically, platform
Slowly.
is all the other stuff you do, and that brings us to fishnerds.com, where we have Fish Nerds Nation, where we point out interesting things from people all over the world that are like us, fish nerds. And we often follow a guy, Jerry and Max. Max is his dog, and Jerry goes fishing and catches fish out of the Erie Canal and puts little cowboy hats on them.
I love these guys.
And he makes the fish talk, and then he throws it back. And Jerry's been sick. And everybody's been, people chiming in, a little worried about Jerry. Jerry's feeling a little blue, so we've been trying to cheer him up a little bit. But he went out, he made his triumphant return the other day, and he traded in. He used to drive a beat-up van, like a beat-up Chevy van.
I thought Jerry was a dog.
No, Max is the dog.
I'm so confused.
And his new fishing vehicle, he showed it the other day, and I think it's coming up on Fish Nerds, is those little electronic scooters that old people drive around in?
Oh yeah, cool.
It's one of those.
Oh, I need one of those.
So
Does it have like pontoons on it?
It doesn't have pontoons, but it has rod holders on it.
That's great.
So that's his new fishing, and I think it even has a wagon.
Good for him.
So, but yeah, like I said, I think he must have got pretty sick there for a while because he stopped putting out videos. He normally does one every day, and him and his dog barks at the barge as it goes by. So anyway, our thoughts go out to Jerry and hope he's feeling better.
Yeah, because what would Max do without him?
I know. It's going to be
by himself.
Exactly. Just go out.
Good.
So on that cheery note, that's Fish Nerd Nation.
On that cheery note, if you haven't done so already, please like our Fish Nerds page on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter, which Dave's going to start twittering tomorrow because he has a smartphone, I don't. And go to iTunes, look up Fish Nerds, subscribe if you haven't already, rate us 5 stars. It's really important.
Yep.
And make a little comment, and we will appreciate it. We don't make any money on this podcast yet, so little things like that keep the podcast going. If you want to sponsor the podcast, we'd love to have your money and your product or whatever. And so please get in touch with us at sponsors@fishnerds.com, and we will send you a rates sheet and talk about how you can get involved with the Fish Nerds.
It's all platform.
And we're about to be real big when our book comes out. We can sell dozens of them. 12s.
We'll be hundredaires.
100, yeah. Make at least $12.
Yeah.
So.
But regardless, it's all fun, and we had fun running into a bunch of fishing people this weekend. So, that's really what it's all about. We don't have our sign-off yet.
I know. We really need to spend some time writing.
That's true.
Well, once we have engineers and people working for us, making our money, then we can start, having credits.
You know what? I want a publicist.
Ooh, I'll be your publicist.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I already am. So, we're all we got.
Deal.
Because you're my publicist.
Oh, there you go.
And I'm the producer. You're the engineer.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we got it all worked out.
All right. Well,
all right.
that is it. That is this week's Fish Nerds.
Fish Nerds, and if Dave ever engineers last week's, that will be up too.
I'm working on it.
Get in the game, kid. Come on.
All right.
All right, fishnerds.com.